I mean, the pictures from I seen, you was fly back then. You was real fly. You know, a little longer hair, a little chubby, a little bit more weight. You know, looking real
Yeah.
cool. But
Well,
things happen. Okay, so what? How did you get caught?
so when I was on the run, I stole another like 3.5 million.
Okay, so you're on the run and you stole another 3 million.
Well,
Where were you?
I was really like 4.5, but I ended up getting it for 3.5. But what I did was I started buying houses, and then I would go down to public records and I would satisfy the mortgages on the houses.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like I don't own the house. I don't owe anything on the house. And then I'd go and I'd borrow 4 or 5 mortgages on the same house, like on the same day. So if
So
I'm
what? Like,
so if a house is worth 200,000 and I go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo Bank, uh, you know, Washington Mutual, like I go to like 4 different banks and apply for loans and then schedule the closings within the same day. I can go to one closing at 9 o'clock, one at 11, one at 1 at
because
3.
they haven't popped up right. They haven't popped up right. So it's still like you haven't applied for any yet.
Yeah, it's called lag time. It takes a couple of weeks for them to show up in public records. So I have a few weeks, but I usually close them within a day, maybe 2 days of each other. And then they all give me a check, and then I deposit the checks into a bunch of different accounts, and then I pull the money out in cash, and then I take off. So that worked out pretty well. By this point, I've got fake IDs. Like I've figured out how to go into the DMV and actually get the DMV to issue me driver's licenses in other people's names. So, I've got passports. I got like over almost, I think 24 passports. I had 27 driver's licenses.
How were you getting 27? How did you make the DMV give you IDs in other people's names?
Well, I mean, I could get an ID in a name by making the fake birth certificate and the social security number. But if you couldn't get a driver's license doing that, and I don't know why, but I could always get a fake ID, just a regular ID. But if I wanted a driver's license, which I did because I'm driving, I would survey homeless people and I would order their birth certificate and their social security card and their, let's say, high school transcripts. I would get a lease agreement in their name, or I would register to vote and I get a voter's registration card. And then I go into a state DMV where they had never had a license. So I go, if I met them in South Carolina, I go to North Carolina, or I go to Florida, or I go to Alabama.
Okay.
And then they would issue me a driver's license. I'd have to take the driving test. Sometimes I'd have to take the written test and the driving test. Sometimes it was just the written test. Sometimes they had a valid ID and I just get the ID, which didn't happen a lot. I took a lot of driving tests.
So your picture will be on the ID.
It's mine. Yeah, I walked in the DMV. It's my picture. I mean, it says Walter Holcomb, or it says Joseph Carter, or
it says somebody else's, but you will be on the ID. So it's like you're that person.
Yeah. So if I get pulled over by the cops, boom, I give Michael Eckert. My name's Michael Eckert, and I'm not stupid. I mean, if I'm driving a car in the name of Michael Eckert. Like I buy a car as Michael Eckert. I get full coverage insurance as Michael Eckert. I've got a driver's license as Michael Eckert. I got credit cards, the whole 9 yards. Because let's face it, this guy's homeless. He's not going to figure out that I've hijacked his fucking ID.
They can't even contact him to let him know something's going on.
Right.
You are the number they have to contact.
Right. And what's he going to do? How's he going to fucking unravel it and call the police and figure it out? Like, what's he going to say? You know, he can barely feed himself. So, I mean, he's got enough problems going on. So, yeah, I would get that. And then I'd buy houses in their names and refinance them. I borrowed like $1.3 million in a homeless guy's ID one time.
1.3.
1.3. It's not a bad
lick. Would you do, like build the credit up on this guy or something? Like,
no, I didn't have to. I bought a house that was going for 130. It was worth 130.
Because you already had the cash. So long as you got the cash, you can do whatever you want.
No, I didn't even do that. I got the people to owner finance the house. After they owner finance, I gave them like 20 grand down, 25 grand down. They owner finance it. So I owe them 200,000, right? I then go downtown 2 weeks later, and I I satisfy their mortgage on the house. So now I own the house with no mortgage on it in my name. Free and clear. Well, not Matt Cox, but as a Gary Sullivan in his name. I then turn around and I go to a bunch of different banks and they're like, look, you don't have good credit at all. You have no credit at all, Mr. Sullivan. So we can only lend you $195,000 on this $230,000. And I go,
cool with me.
well, all right. But if you go to 5 or 6 different ones and you borrow 1.3 million, you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think about it. Even if I had good credit, they were only going to lend me 130, or I'm sorry, 230.
You could have got a little more of good credit.
What, more on a $230,000 house? You're going to get to buy maybe 100% finance. But I wasn't. I was getting like 90%, 85 and 90%. So it was like 180, 190. But I'm borrowing 5 mortgages. So 5, 6, 7 mortgages. Anyway, what happened then?
You literally just got used to borrowing mortgages. Like it became a natural routine for you, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I own the mortgage company, so I know what they're looking for. I know what they want. When I walk in and I apply for a loan, I already know what they want from me. So I got this. I fill out the application. Perfect. I got everything here. Oh, did you need my W-2? Boom. You need that last year's? Yeah. Boom. You need the one before that? Yeah. Boom. You need last 2 years or last 2 pay stubs? Here. Oh, by the way, I didn't know if you needed this or not, but I have my last 3 bank statements. Oh, also wanted to let you know I have this too, and I have that, and I have this. And are we all done? And they go, well, you have just been the best customer to work with. Oh, well, thank you.
I love those customers who got their stuff together. It's fast for anything.
And then that's it. They pull the credit, 700 and some odd credit scores. Used to only need a 620. Now it was 650. What does it matter? I still had 700. So yeah, so that would be it. I even if I didn't have credit at all, they'd say, okay, well, we can't lend you 100% financing. We can lend you 80% or 85. Okay, so I'll take it.
85% out of 200 is probably 160.
No,
something like that.
It's not that though. Think about it. It's actually a house that's worth $230,000 times 0.85. It's $195,000. That's 85%. So how many of those can I borrow? If I borrow, 6 of those or 7 of those, I got a couple million. I mean, I got over $1 million.
And you would just reinvest it.
Yeah, you pull it out. I mean, at this point, I'm on the run, so I'm really just spending the money. I'm going on
now you spending the money. Now you just getting all the free time you can.
Yeah, but after 3 years, I get caught. I get arrested.
Did you ever go overseas or anything?
Yeah, I went to while I was on the run. I went to I went to Jamaica. I've been to Bermuda. I went to Italy. I went to Croatia. Where?
Did you hit the Bermuda Triangle? Did you get in the water?
Well, that Bermuda is near. It's near the Bermuda Triangle. I went to Mexico. Where else? Yeah, bro. I mean, I traveled.
You had a nice little overseas tour, huh?
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Fraud's not a full-time job. Got to do something. So yeah, eventually I'm dating this girl. We're living together, and we start seeing another girl. And the chick that I had originally taken off with, she had gotten caught. We broke up, and she went her own separate ways, and she got caught. And so she started, they start looking for me with her help. And so I'm in a bunch of magazines, there's a bunch of articles, and then Dateline, NBC News, Dateline.
Yeah.
They were going to do a 1-hour special on me. So I was going to leave the country and go to Australia.
Right.
And while I was pulling out money and I was cashing checks and getting more and more of the money out of the bank, my girlfriend ends up confiding in her friend who I am. And she contacts the Secret Service, and a couple days later, they arrest me.
So I have a question. If you had an offshore account with money in that, would they be able to seize that too?
Yeah.
They could just take everything, huh? But restitution and all that.
I mean, even if they can't seize it, they're going to freeze it, and then they just have to prove to the other. They just have to prove to the governing body of that bank that it's fraudulent funds. Like, especially once I'm convicted, it's
Right.
money from a fraud. Send it back to us. They're going to take it.